Okay, we are live now.
Okay, great. Great to be here again. It's number 10 for us, Aniket. Can you
Yes,
can
it
you believe
is.
that? It won't be a good sight, but you can just imagine me doing a little jump here because it's number 10 for us.
The
But
same
yeah,
here. I'm
welcome.
also excited.
Yeah,
It is still a journey, but it's a good milestone for us, hitting a double digit.
absolutely. So, yes, welcome everyone to this 10th podcast of our series under the marquee umbrella of Where Strategy Meets Execution. It's a series of podcasts that I and Aniket are doing, specifically looking into problems and issues and challenges and opportunities that small and medium businesses face in these times. And we take some very pertinent topics in each podcast and just delve upon them, do a deep dive, and a lot of good things have already come out of that. So this, as I said, is the 10th one in the series. I'm really excited about this. Today we are going to talk about a seamless evolution for any SMB, and upgrading their businesses using digital tools without causing any disruption to the existing processes. I think it's a real pain point that SMBs face, and today we'll be diving deep into it. And yeah, let's see how that goes. But this is Aniket. This is really something that keeps every SMB up at night, isn't it?
It, yeah, it does. It does. And this is a really pertinent topic that does actually affect uh, SMB's bottom line also. And it is, I mean, what we have seen, it is one of the pain points that they struggle with. And we are happy to discuss this. Let's go through the introduction quick, and then we can dive into that.
Yeah.
I'm excited, to start the discussion.
Great. So this is Shantanu Kelkar. I'm a founder at 1.618 Business Consulting. That's my business consulting firm. I have about 20 plus years of experience working in automation, consulting, and marketing areas. I have worked with companies such as Honeywell, Emerson, Frost and Sullivan in the past. And in my current role as a founder and principal consultant with 1.618, I deal with small and medium businesses as well as large enterprises to help them develop their strategies, develop their business plans, and actually execute them. And that's where I come into this whole paradigm of where strategy meets execution from a strategy, marketing, planning perspective. Right. So that's about me. I think Aniket, you bring
Yeah,
in a very different perspective as well. So how about you?
absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Shantanu. So, yeah, I'm Aniket. I'm senior implementation specialist here at one company, BPM Associates in Indianapolis. But I have 15 plus years of experience in basically managing complex program, though whether it is robotics, automation, or supply chain. I worked in Amazon for 2.5 years, where I worked on automation of the warehouses. That is still going on. They have a target to reach 1 million in by 2030, 12 million robots. So happy to work on that, and I did actually happy to share that I saved $9.6 million through working on some process requirement as well as process implementation. And I before Amazon, I worked in Cummins also through different positions, and finally when I left, it was a leadership position. Here I'm excited to share my experience, expertise, which are pertinent problems related to SMBs. The problem that Shantanu said we are diving in is related to the seamless integrations of different tools. So excited to be here, and let's dive into the topic. What do you say, Shantanu?
Yeah, let's go into it. We have on one hand, I bring in the strategy perspective. You're bringing the operations perspective, and I think for this topic, it's really the best combination that we can have to discuss on this, right?
Yeah.
So the burning platform. Ambition on one hand, reality on the other. Let's look at the first stat that hits us right in the face here. It's actually mind blowing. 96% of small and medium businesses, as you see here, they have said that they plan to adopt emerging technologies like AI. And 96%, that's almost 100%, barring a few who were just lazy enough not to respond probably. you know so but that's a big number, right?
It is. It is. And that's incredible. And honestly, I'm not surprised. When I talk to SMB leaders, everyone knows they need to modernize, So I see that there is a awareness. Awareness is there. But
Mm.
here is the painful flip side, right?
Yeah, so that's the reality part. 85% of those transformation projects, they usually fail to meet the objectives that they have set out with. So on one hand, you have got the ambition where almost everyone wants to do something, but a vast majority of them are actually not able to get the expected results.
Absolutely. And that's a massive gap. And I think, in my experience, Chantanu, I've lived this gap. I've seen companies invest six, seven figures into a new system, and that end up becoming a worse off than what they started.
Yeah.
Old system is gone now. The new system does not work properly, and everyone is scrambling. What we do
Mm.
now?
Yeah, yeah. We have this saying in Marathi, that's our local language here for those who are not
Yeah,
well versed, but it's called kalte pan valat nahi, which means in English that you know that you need to do something, but then you are not actually doing it for umpteen number of reasons. So I think the statistics here clearly states that. But let's look at what's causing this gap.
mm,
As I said, on one end, 58% of SMBs here, they are already using generative AI. Now the proportion or the extent to which they are using might vary, but they are saying that they are using generative AI, and that's increasing. It was 40% last year. It's 58% now, so it's on the upswing. 63% of workloads are moving to the cloud. Again,
yeah,
it's up significant numbers from previous year. And 90% of the companies that adopt AI are reporting revenue gains. So it also sort of completes the cycle that it's actually causing or having a positive impact. So,
absolutely, absolutely. And so the opportunity is real. Like a lot of people are saying, "Oh, AI is hype. AI is hype." It is not, right?
mm, yeah,
And
it's absolutely real.
yeah,
Yeah, and again, this comes from very credible research from Proce's 2025 research,
yeah,
and it clearly states that projects with excellent change management are
hmm,
almost 7 times more likely to succeed than those with poor change management. So I think again the operative word here is change
change.
management and how good or bad that is.
Wow, 7 times. Wow. I mean, let that sink in for a moment. Think about that. Like
Mm.
this tells us, problem is not usually the technology. The
Yeah.
technology generally works. Problem, I think, is how we implement it, how we bring people along in this journey, right? How we manage the transition.
Right, right. And I think the crux of the discussion today is going to be that on one
Correct.
hand, you know what needs to be done,
Yep.
you have the ambition to do it, but then on the other hand, you are not really sure how to do it without causing too much pain in the present. Right? So your future is very rosy,
Yep.
but it's the pain that you are going to face or you are imagining you are going to face in the present that's holding you back. So
Absolutely.
that's today's topic.
Yeah, and that's why what I tell leaders: don't fall in love with the technology. Technology is awesome. Fall in love with the problem that you're solving. The problem is important because that will give you more insights and more endurable success. Uh, the technology is just a tool. You should know how to use it, but just don't fall
Yeah.
in love with the technology. Use it as a
No,
tool.
very well said. Very well said, yeah, Aniket. I think if they are able to separate the two,
Yeah,
and really look at what is the real problem that they want to solve, um, separate from all the hype and the glamour behind using new technologies. I think that's when they will be really be able to adopt a meaningful tech platform
transition.
and have some
Absolutely.
positive impact. Yeah. So let's talk about the market shift here, because I think the competitive market, the landscape has also fundamentally changed. And again, I have been seeing this from strategy, business planning perspective. When we try to look at the overall 360-degree view of the business, competition, market trends becomes very important.
Hmm.
And we almost always, or not almost always, we see that the speed of change is accelerating year on year. As we relook at the business and the landscape, the market landscape around it, it is changing at a rapid pace.
Absolutely. And then dramatically, I think that Gen AI adoption number you mentioned, right, going from
Mm.
a 40% to 58% in just 12 months.
Mm.
That's 18-point jump in 1 year. I mean, just think about it. It's spectacular. I've never seen technology adoption move this fast in my career. I know that there was a mobile technology that came in, but look at this jump for like 18-point jump in just 12 months. That's massive,
Absolutely.
massive.
Yeah. It's, every technology has this, as they say, the hype cycle. And
Hmm.
the frequency is increasing. The time between the nascency of the technology and the peak of the technology is becoming very small. The newer technologies that you are seeing come in today will reach their peak much faster than some of the earlier revolutions that happened in the technology landscape. So yeah, you can see here as well, 63% of workloads are expected to be in public cloud in the next 12 months. Again, that's a significant jump
It
compared to
is.
last year. And that
Yes.
has completely changed the infra game for SMBs particularly.
Absolutely. And here is what I found like most compelling though, Shantanu. 90% of AI adopters, they are seeing actual revenue gains. So it's
Hmm.
not theoretical anymore now. The game has completely changed. You're already seeing the results. And this is, it is showing up on income statements.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you see the bottom of the slide there. That's, I think, the concerning part as well, because
Hmm.
we are seeing that gap widen between leaders and laggards.
Yeah,
The classic in economic terms, it's the rich becoming richer, the poor becoming poorer. But companies that have embraced these tools are actually seeing 5% growth,
yeah,
which in turn is pushing them to invest more in these. And then the laggards are actually seeing a 12% decline, which is then probably again holding them back from reinvesting in the technologies. So
absolutely.
that's how it
And
is.
so it's just not about gaining an advantage anymore, right? If you are standing still, you are actually falling behind. That's the
Yeah,
message I want the SMB leaders to take it from here. It is your competitors who adopt these tools.
yeah,
They're gonna have lower cost. They're gonna have
yeah.
a faster response times and better customer experience. Period.
Right, right. I think we might be alluding to the Red Queen's race from Lewis Carroll's novel, where for Alice, where she just has to keep running in order to
Yeah,
stay in place, run faster to stay in place. So it's like running on the treadmill. You're not going anywhere. You're just running. You're at the same place. But then what the SMBs are probably missing is the cardio that's happening to you, the muscles that you
very
are
good.
building, and the endurance that you are building. So even though it seems that you are not going further, that
Further.
running in place is actually very important.
Very well said. Very good, pertinent example. And let me give you some additional insight. Like, a concrete example. A competitor using AI for a customer support, they can now handle 45% of inquiries without human intervention. So that means their cost to serve a customer is dramatically lower than yours. If you are
Mm,
into the call center customer support,
mm,
uh, you know space, or if you're a SMB who have a customer support department who are handling these calls with a human or with manually, uh, you are still doing it everything manually, and where this technology is ramping up very fast. So that's a structural cost advantage that can compound over time. So don't miss that.
Absolutely. Great. So then let's look at the reality part as well. Let's see why are these traditional approaches so far have been failing. You know, if the technology works and the opportunity is also real, we are seeing the results for companies who have adopted it. Why do 85% of projects still fail? So
Hmm,
in this, as you can see here, we have identified four key barriers. Let's walk through those, Aniket.
absolutely. So yeah, if you look at this slide, barrier number one is the integration complexity, right? That's massive. Uh, your new shiny tool does not talk to your existing systems.
Hmm.
And that's a common problem I've seen. And you got a data in your ERP system, data in your CRM system, whatever, like or in your spreadsheets, and suddenly you need all of that work to work together seamlessly.
Yeah, yeah. And again, uh, more often than not, if that is the case, then you end up having your integration costs that are way higher than the cost of the actual software. Like
Hmm.
you have projects where, and these are real examples where the software license probably is about $50,000, and the integration work itself is about 200K.
200,000.
So
Seen that.
just doesn't make economic sense for them then.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And look at the barrier too, right? It is the skills gap. AI,
Mhm.
cloud, security. These gaps specialize. These require like specialized expertise. And now look at the reality for SMBs, right? You are competing for a talent against Google, like all these top seven, right? Big
Mm.
techs. The
Mm.
big tech companies are vacuuming up all those experts. So where
Mm.
do these SMBs find talent?
Yeah, yeah. That's a pertinent, and a skills gap is what we have also addressed, I think, in detail in one of
Mhm.
our previous podcasts as well. So absolutely a key factor here. Then you have barrier three, which is which is we see constantly everywhere. It's called the
Mm.
Big Bang mentality. Leaders just want to flip a switch and have everything transformed overnight.
Overnight.
It's also manifested in things like your deadlines or your deliverables, which were needed yesterday. So if you ask when do you need it, it was needed yesterday. So it has become so fashionable in a way to have everything change overnight, have everything delivered at an instant. um, with that mentality, companies usually go for this all or nothing migration, and that's where it creates single points of failure, big failure points in that.
And then, Chandu, to be honest, like I've seen that this destroyed the projects, right? You go live on a Monday, nothing works, and suddenly your entire operation is down. At least with your old system, things were functioning. But now you are like stranded with, oh, the line is down, nothing is working, and then you just keep calling the customer service or, hey, tech support, come and fix this. I've seen that, live through it, but is that a right strategy? What do you think? I know you are a strategy expert. Give
Yeah,
us.
no, it's absolutely not. And in the sense that if you see this mentality together, club it with the change management aspect, which is the
Hmm.
fourth barrier here. When you go for such flip switch sort of transformation projects, uh, things obviously don't work, and then the change or resistance to change starts creeping in, which says that why go and fix something which was working fine before this.
Hmm.
We were doing some things, we are not exactly sure how, but we were getting things done. Why do you want to change it? Why do you want to repair something which is not broken? Is what the typical um,
Mindset is
mindset is, and the retort is to from the people when we go and tell them that this is the change that we need to make, right?
correct.
So that's where the fourth barrier also comes in, and it's again one of the more or the most neglected part of this whole paradigm, because you have a good technology on one hand, but then if your people are not using it well, or they are using it wrong,
Invested your
then
investment,
it's a complete investment waste.
and that factor that you mentioned, right? 7x factor. That's
Hmm.
huge. I mean, technology without user buy-in is just an expensive shelfware. Shelfware, right? You just put something on, looks shiny, but it is sitting on the shelf. It is not trickling down onto your state balance statements or income statements. So how do we handle that? Like, what's the solution would be?
Yeah, I think again we have touched upon this in our previous discussions as well. It's absolutely critical to have a phased approach, a
Hmm.
capability-driven approach that identifies and then prioritizes different aspects where people is an important aspect alongside technology.
Yes.
And in the slides after this, we are specifically going to talk about that phased approach. So let's go through that. And as you change it over to the next one, what I think is also important from a change management perspective is, if companies who are wanting to do this, I tell this to every kind. I'm actually a fan of this practice that Google had introduced about 10, 12 years ago. It was called the 20% time on your pet project. So they gave every employee in Google one day in a week to work on their pet projects. Anything which is outside their day-to-day job,
Hmm.
any project that they feel very close about or they feel very excited about, they were free to work on that project for one day in a week, about
Yep.
20% of their working time. And that actually gave rise to things like AdSense, things like Gmail, largely driven by that. Maybe not the only reason, but then some very good things from Google have come out of those that approach, and it's still followed in many companies, even in Google, in some way or the other. But I think that's what SMBs also need to keep in mind, that this is not going to just happen because you said we should do it. You need to
Mm.
plan for it, you need to budget for it, both from a cost perspective as well as time perspective. And then you
Absolutely.
need to have proper trainings, communications, and support if you are really wanting to do it.
Very good example. Thanks for sharing that. All right, let's move on to this next slide. Um, let's get into this framework, okay? So
Yeah.
now we have developed a four-phase roadmap that Shantanu was saying, right? That
Mm.
we've been
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
it
Let's look at
repeatedly
that.
throughout. So can you give us the overview, Shantanu?
Right. So phase one, as you see here, is discovery and strategy. Usually that's week 1 to 4, so about 1 month's time, that we put in that. This is where you really understand your current situation, your situational analysis, what you currently have, what you need, and whether you are ready for the next phases of evolution of this. That's really phase one.
Absolutely. Okay. And the phase two is like selection and prioritization. So it's
Hmm.
like weeks 5 through 8. This is where you make those hard choices about
Hmm.
what to do first, and then build a financial case, like doing a NPV analysis and all that.
Right.
Um,
And then you probably move on to execution and migration. That's phase three, which is about month 3 to month 6, about 3 months of time. This is the actual implementation part. Again, done in phases, which is, it's a beautiful model of breaking it down into achievable targets and achievable phases here. Not to
yeah,
do it
and the
all.
last one is the adoption and sustainment. Sustainment. Basically, it's from month 6 and beyond. This is where you lock in those gains and then prevent people from sliding back to their old habits, right?
Right, right. And people most companies would want to jump to phase
Hmm.
three because that's the glamorous part of it. But skipping phase one and two is exactly why companies are failing. That
Yeah,
85% statistics that we saw is because they are skipping phase one and two.
it's like, yeah, uh, it's a blunder, I would say. Without the
Yeah.
phase one and two, it's like you are just digging your own grave, right? So you have to know what you are going before you start moving. So
Mm.
let's go to the next slide, and then we'll deep dive into each phases. Okay.
Yeah, right. So I think phase one, discovery and strategy, as we said, is all about building or mapping your current capabilities. And again, it sounds consultant, consultanty, and something coming from a consultant himself. But this is practical. Let's make it practical. Yeah.
Very, please
Because
do so,
yeah.
because you have seen like a lot of frameworks that took the great on paper but don't help in the real world, right?
Yeah, well, that's our bread and butter, but fair enough. The simpler version of this is you're just answering one question: what does the business really need to be able to do, and
Hmm.
not what tools we have. So when you're doing a capability mapping,
Hmm.
it's not the processes that it's the processes what should we follow. We don't want to make it tool centric. We don't want to make it jump to solutions. In this case, we
Correct.
want to isolate the problem first, really understand what is it that we want to achieve, and then what capabilities do we
Do
need
we
for
need?
that.
Very good. Can you give us some example, Shantanu?
Yeah, so like customer support is a capability, right? and
Hmm.
and responding to customer inquiries within 24 hours or within a certain amount of time is the KPI that you use to measure it. Now your current tool might be, it could be spreadsheets, it could be emails, you could be noting down customer inquiries in some fashion and responding to that. Your next tool evolution could be into a ticketing system which is driven by AI.
Hmm.
So the tool has changed, but the capability to respond to customers in that particular given time frame, which helps you optimize or maximize the customer satisfaction score, stays the same. So you have to really isolate what you need to do from what tool you are going to use.
Very side. I like that. Yeah. So you are separating what you need to do from how you currently do it.
Correct. Yeah. And then it's a five-step process, as you see here. Everything that we have here is actually, very process-oriented. As we said, we don't want to make it people-centric. Someone might achieve these things by their own way of doing things, but then that becomes very person-centric, people-centric. Once those people move on, no one is able to replicate the results as they were doing it, and that's because it's all in their head, it's not in the process. So again, this is a five-step process where you understand your strategic goals, you decompose your business into capability blocks, map those current applications into those capabilities, and then identify gaps, redundancies, have a heat map where you have
Hmm.
what is more strategically important versus what is currently mature, and then see what comes out of that. Right?
Yeah. And what typically comes out of this exercise? Can you
So,
share?
it could throw up some very non-intuitive things. It could throw up some surprises as well.
Hmm.
You'll find redundancies, like three different project management tools across three departments.
Hmm.
They might be wanting to do the same thing, but then everyone's using their own method and their own tools. Or you might find gaps like there are critical processes that are so focused on one person doing their job right that the point of failure becomes very critical. If that spreadsheet or that tool goes wrong or that person is not available, then the whole domino, will fall down.
Yeah.
And then you'll also find misalignments. You will find you have expensive tools supporting some very non strategic capabilities. You would realize that you don't really need to invest so much into a certain capability that you have become.
Correct. And that becomes your roadmap for a prioritization, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that the output of phase one is really a capability map, a gap analysis,
Hmm.
and a clear success metrics that defines your readiness. It's a readiness assessment for you. And again, uh, the the favorite part of this is, don't pave the cow path, as they say. If your
Yeah.
current process is broken, don't automate a broken process. Fix the process first, then find the tool.
Very
I
well
think
said.
we had dealt with some very good examples last time,
Hmm.
where it's like garbage in, garbage out. If your
Absolutely.
process is broken, you are going to get broken results.
100%. 100%. Okay, let's move on to the slide number 9.
Yeah.
which talks about our phase two, right? Selection and prioritization. So this is where we get practical about priorities and money, right? Let's start with
Yeah,
prioritization. So you use
yeah,
something called as Moscow. Can you
yeah.
touch
Uh,
on that, Chandru?
Yeah, it's an acronym. It's not what it appears to be,
Yeah.
especially in these times, but it's an acronym for what you see there: must have, should have, could have, and won't have. It's, it's beautiful. It's a very beautiful framework. You have must have items that are non-negotiable.
Mm,
Without these, your project fails or your product is unstable.
yes,
uh, for a financial system upgrade, security compliance, for example, would be a must-have.
makes
You
sense.
can't do without it, right? Then there are some should-have items which are important but not vital.
Yeah,
So you would need them, but their absence would be painful. But you can function without them. It's not that your process will stop, or production or operations would stop because of those. So these are what get cut if you're running behind schedule.
yeah,
So it also in a way defines what you go on cutting if the things come to a boil,
yeah.
right?
And what about Q could have?
Yeah, so those are the nice to have aspects. They are good for delighting users,
Mm,
but then again they are not very critical. These are your contingency pools.
mm,
Again, some of the first things to drop if must haves are taking a bigger budget pie, or a bigger budget slice, or they are taking longer than expected. Then these are the ones. The nice to haves are the ones that you cut out.
yeah, absolutely. And then won't have is interesting because you are explicitly saying no, right?
Yeah, and I think not just in this case,
Mm,
in any approach, in any outlook, even I use that in our in our strategy sessions as well. When you are trying to build, or when you are trying to plan for something that you want to do, you should also plan for something that you will not do.
correct.
So you have a list of things that you want to do. On the same parallel to that, you should also have a list of things that you will not do.
Hmm.
And by explicitly spelling those out, by explicitly saying or listing those features, you are then able to prevent scope creep. You are able to manage expectations, right? And when someone says that, can we also add this, you can say absolutely, but that's on the won't have lists for this phase, so we'll tackle it in phase 2.
Phase two, yeah,
Of course, things will change their categories, but for the given phase, it's very important to have or to know what things you will not do in that phase.
correct.
You have to list them down.
And I agree with you. The scope creep is the silent killer of that projects, right? It's
It is, yeah, because it impacts money
yeah,
eventually. So that's the TCO, the total cost of ownership, and then eventually the ROI as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I love this section because so many people just look at the software price tag, right?
Yeah, so as we said earlier, if the software could be 50K, but then the integration costs could run into 200K plus.
Mm-hmm.
You add implementation, training, integration, change management, all of that into it, and it will just overrun the software price tag as well. So you have here some sample calculations in the materials,
Yeah.
a 3-year cloud migration comparison here. On premises, total cost of ownership is about 1.35 million.
Wow.
Cloud TCO 1.15 million. So that's the difference. That's already a 200K in direct savings, about 15% reduction there.
Mm-hmm. And what about the ROI?
And yeah, you have here about 44% over 3 years. That's the kind of ROI you have with a 15-month payback period,
Mm.
right? And it's not just the apparent costs, it also includes hidden costs in it. A lot of people calculate ROI on license fees and wonder why they didn't get the savings they expected.
Good point.
But
Good
it's
point.
not just on license fees, it's also covers the implementation costs in this.
Absolutely. And before we dive into the next slide, I mean, I want to just provide one example. I at Amazon, and I know it's a cliche, but I know we used to
Mhm.
say like trust but verify. So every business case, they had to include worst case, expected case, and best case scenarios. So we always planned for the expected case while having a contingency for the worst case, right? If your business case only
Exactly.
works in the best case scenario, it is not a big business case
So
at
it's
all.
not a good business case. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So next slide. Let's talk about phase three.
Mm.
Now we get into the actual implementation. Right? This is where
Mm.
I have some strong opinions, but go for it.
Yeah, yeah. The phase versus Big Bang approach, maybe
Yeah,
that's where you
exactly.
are
As
not particularly happy.
and I've seen those Big Bang migrations fail spectacularly.
Yeah.
Comparison is stark. With Big Bang, you have a high risk single point of failure, as you said in previous slides, and with phase, right,
Mm.
you have low risk because failures are isolated and easy to roll back.
Yeah, and you also have to take into account the downtime.
Oh yes, that's
Again,
a
that's
huge
a huge
factor.
factor.
That is a huge factor. Good point. And Big Bang requires a significant cutover window. So you're telling your
Mm.
business nothing works this weekend. Phase
Hmm.
is minimal downtime, often
Downtime.
transparent to users.
Yeah, it's that whole part is very
Oh
frustrating,
yeah,
and again, that's what drives people away from these changes as well. So I think that in that part, the testing difference is also critical.
very well said. Yeah, and with Big Bang, I think you have limited flexibility after you go live. So you are committed. With Phase, you have ongoing pilots and adjustments. So Phase one reveals a bug, fix it before Phase
Mm.
two hits everyone, right? So
Mm.
you go in an incremental manner. You identify bugs in your previous phases and then rectify those, go to phase two, and so on.
Mm. Mm. But then, are there any instances when Big Bang does make sense? Obviously, we have been claiming that no one size fits all. So again, this paradigm
Hmm.
may not fit everyone. So are there cases where Big Bang makes sense?
And there are some small, simple, non-critical systems, right?
Mhm.
When the old and new systems truly can coexist. But for complex mission-critical
Mm.
system, I will always go with the phase approach. Always. Period.
Yeah, so it's like when you can cut off the organ just to stop the gangrene from
Yeah.
spreading,
Good.
you should go for a Big Bang change.
Good example. Good
Yeah,
example. So
yeah.
what's our
So I
recommendation?
think the
Yeah, go
recommendation,
ahead.
yeah, the recommendation is simple. I think default to a phased migration for any complex system, even a slightly complex or a complicated system, and that really gives you an ability to course correct as you go, uh, all through the process. Even during the rollout,
Hmm.
during the final process or the solution rollout, you can course correct yourself.
Absolutely.
That's one simple recommendation.
And one extra tip, like, start with your friendliest users. Find the teams that most
Mhm.
excited about this change, most tech savvy, most forgiving for bugs. Make them your champions, right? Involve them into the process because then they gonna be like driving this success and they can own it. So their success becomes your proof point of for the skeptics. So how do you
Mm.
early like find out those teams which are very tech savvy, we are forgiving and also ready for change and ready to adopt new technology. Like involve them into this process, make them your champion.
Yeah, and I don't think it's very difficult. Even right now, anyone listening,
Hmm.
there might have been some names that popped up.
Probably, yeah,
When
absolutely.
you heard this, I have this guy in my team who can do this for me. But yeah, let's go to phase four here. I think this is where most companies drop the ball.
Hmm.
They think we have implemented the technology, we are done. But again, that's where they can also go off track and fall behind. So, and that's where the 7x factor also lives
Yeah.
in a way.
So tell us about this ADKAR phraseology. I know it's a change management model, but can you break it down for our?
Yeah, so it's again from PROSI. It stands for awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. So it's again sequential. Each steps builds onto the previous one.
Mhm.
So
I
if
can.
we go through each one of them.
Yeah.
Awareness is like answering why do I want to change.
Hmm.
So it become sort of becoming self-aware. As a person, you become more mature when you become self-aware. Similarly, for a business, once you start becoming aware of why do I need to change, what happens if I don't change right now or today. So this is the leadership really communicating the whole, the Berlin platform thing, right? It should flow top down. People should understand why change is necessary, and they will resist, which is going to be there. You should expect that, but then you should start with making them aware
Aware
of
of that.
why this change is required.
And that desire is very trickier in my
Yeah, because it is very, in a way, everyone question will pop up in their mind,
yeah,
that what's in it for me.
yeah,
So that's where the personal motivation should also be alluded to. The more you make it personal, or person centric, and show them why, what is in it for them, the more you will have the desire for every team member to work on it. So one-to-one conversations from the leadership, that should work. The company reason, the reason isn't just enough that people, because someone has said something from the corner room, is not going to make it
fine.
work. People need to see personal benefits in that.
Yeah.
So it could be like, this tool will automate the report that you hate creating every Friday. You spend your Friday afternoons after work to create those reports. This will help automate that. Right?
Yeah,
It could be that simple.
it is. Yeah. And then knowledge is the training piece, right?
Right. So that's the how part of it.
Mm.
How do I use this? So you have training sessions, you have job aids, you have standardized documentations behind that, which everyone can latch onto and learn from there. But the critical part here is, knowledge must come after desire.
Mm,
If again they flip their places, if you force feed people, force to train them, who are not desirous of change, then they won't retain anything. And
absolutely.
again, the resistance will creep in. They will just go through the motions because someone has asked us to go through 10
You
hours
know,
of training. I'm doing. There's no desire.
very, very, yeah, very true.
Yeah.
And then ability
So
versus knowledge. Yeah, that's an interesting distinction.
yeah.
What is-
Correct. So I think knowledge is the understanding on how it works, and the ability is that I can actually do this in my daily workflow.
Mhm.
So it's in fact very, very pertinent. I was reading through some of the Indian knowledge systems, Upanishads, just last week, and this is exactly where it says that you can call yourselves knowledgeable only when you are implementing that knowledge in real life.
Yeah,
So unless you are not implementing it, you can't even claim to be knowledgeable. So understanding is one, but then actually putting it into
practice.
practice
That's
is
what matters.
the ability part of it. Right?
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
and
and then
then
we have the reinforcement
correct.
part, where it's not just, you don't finish at uh, ability. You don't finish at implementing it once, but you keep on reinforcing it. And again, it could be in tangible and intangible ways. It could be through celebrations, it could be through recognitions, audits, because it keeps you honest on and on track on whether you are doing the right thing. And I think that's very important. If people can still access the old way, uh, when the new way has been implemented, they will probably revert to the old way under pressure.
True.
So you also need to make sure that there are no bridges to go back. There are no sort of, once you are in the battle, you close the back
Back
door.
door.
You're not, yeah, you're not allowing the soldiers to come back.
Come back. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's again important to do. And again, this research, process research, shows that uh, projects with extremely effective sponsors, leadership sponsors,
Mhm.
are again 79% more likely to meet the objectives, and with ineffective sponsors it falls down to 27%. So a critical role that leadership has to play in this: be visible, be active, and be consistent in your messaging throughout the project, not
Absolutely.
just at the kickoff. Otherwise, it's, the people kick off the project, they, there's a full panel right from the president to the director sitting in the room, and then the next time
They just
anyone sees
disappear.
them is at the end of the project when everything has been messed up.
Absolutely. So visible
Yeah,
executive sponsorship, it's not an optional. It is a success factor.
absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right. Let's move on to the next slide.
Yeah, I think the business capability heat map.
Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, would you like to cover that?
Yeah, again, it's very simple. Just, try to map your capabilities as a good, medium, or gap. So, you have, green means strong, you have a good capability behind this, it's well supported and working well. Yellow means it's adequate, maybe not top notch, but it's adequate, it works, but it could be better, there's room for improvement. And red means there is a gap, so there is a problem area, and that should be the priority for upgrade.
Very good. Yeah.
So, yeah, so, again, it would differ by your business,
Mm,
and that's again the one reason why you need to separate things out and understand what are you in the business for.
yes.
If you are usually in customer and revenue, the first category that you see here, lead management is red for companies that are still using spreadsheets. Now, this is one example that we have taken.
Correct.
But in those, opportunity management is often yellow. It's adequate. They have a basic CRM system in place, some analytic tools that run those reports. So it's adequate, but there could be some good analytics or better analytics from that. And then customer support is frequently read as well. So multiple people gathering customer feedback and customer questions from in multiple ways. There
Yeah,
is no unified ticketing behind it, and that leads to slow response times.
absolutely. Absolutely. And what about the support functions?
Right. So, billing and invoicing is usually green. Again, that's the first thing that people try to automate and have a system behind it early, because again, it's money coming in. So,
Mm,
that's what we focus on first. But then, analytics usually falls behind. There are reports, but they are slow to extract, and they are static. They are not dynamic. You get a report which is 6 months old, and you're not able to do anything about it. And then automation and AI is almost always red.
yeah,
uh, just ad hoc experiment theoretical examples
that's
that work in some silos in the company,
very
not
true. Very
integrated.
true. So this the exercise for the SMB is to fill this out for their organization, correct?
Right, right, exactly. So your red boxes become your priority upgrade zones. Again, everything should be driven by what you want to do and what you want to achieve,
Absolutely.
given your business, right? And then your green boxes become the how does good look like. So you replicate those patterns into areas where you are lacking. And again, don't try to fix everything at once. We already went through the prioritization
We
thing.
have, yeah.
You sequenced it based on strategic importance.
Absolutely. All right, let's look at one of the case study. I'm just keeping an eye on the watch, but we'll cover
Hmm.
this. This case study is very important. So let's look at some real examples. First one is a healthcare
Hmm.
company. This hits close to home, I think, because healthcare is complex and high stakes.
Yeah. So I think this company, fast growing US healthcare company, I think it was drowning in patient support tickets, just two a barrage of patient support tickets.
Yep.
The manual resolution was slow, backlogs were growing, and patients were frustrated, really. Classic capacity problem.
Yeah. And can you walk us through how did they approach this problem?
Yeah. Yeah, so what they did again, the approach was a phased one. They implemented a Gen AI knowledge assistant with predictive suggestions for agents, but that was the key part. It was not agent replacement; it was agent augmentation.
Augmentation. Yeah.
So it was really there to help the human agents work faster,
Mhm.
not really to replace them. Again, that would have been a failure mode if they would have just gone behind cost cutting
True.
and would have replaced those human agents.
True. And what about the
So
results?
yeah, so you see here 45% faster resolution time, because now agents have access to this AI generated suggestions and summaries.
Hmm.
What they would have taken X amount of time uh, to really go through that and think about the suggestions, now they are doing it 45% faster, meaning almost half of those inquiries are resolved by AI without human intervention, because the suggestions are spot on, since the AI engine is trained well enough, and that directly leads to 50% reduction in backlog.
Wow. Yeah, that deflection rate is huge. That's essentially cutting your support volume in, say, half, right?
In half. Yeah, yeah. And AI handles the routine stuff. Again, we have been harking upon this. AI has its own capabilities. Humans have their own capabilities. It's handling the routine stuff, appointment scheduling, FAQ retrieval, etc., basic information requests. And then the human agents are free to focus on the more complex and sensitive cases, where the human touch is more important than
True.
patients talking to machines. Right.
Absolutely.
So that's what they can focus on.
Yeah. Just to before moving to the next slide, I know some key insights. This is the right model for AI adoption. So don't think about
Mm,
replacing people. Think about amplifying their capabilities, right? What if every
absolutely.
one of your customer service reps had a genius assistant, like
Mm,
whispering into their ear, and some
mm,
suggestions. So that's an opportunity.
no,
Think about that.
yeah, absolutely,
All right, let's look
absolutely.
at the case study, which is very dear to me. Amazon Prime Studio. So this, it's a fascinating because it goes against conventional wisdom. Uh,
Mhm.
Amazon Prime Video, as many of you know, actually moved from microservices back to a monolith.
Oh, then isn't that counterintuitive?
It is,
Like,
it is
industry
counter
moving to a
because
micro.
it's whole industry moving backward, moving
Yeah,
towards microservices, right? So
yeah.
that's the conventional wisdom, I would say, because here is what happened, right? Prime Video needed to monitor their thousands of live streams for their
Mm,
quality issues, like some block corruptions, audio sync problems, and many more. But those were the two big problems I remember. And they originally built it using some serverless microservices like AWS, step functions, and Lambda, right?
the glamorous, trendy
Correct.
architectures. Yeah.
Trained the architecture, right? Said, but it only handled about 5% of their expected load. So every time the data passed between services, it does require network calls and storage in S3. So that
Mm,
coordination between like overhead was really killing them.
okay. So what did they do next?
Yeah, and what they did is they pack everything into a single process, a monolith, like running on those EC2 and ECS. Uh,
Mm,
they basically what they did is all data stayed in a memory, and no more expensive S3 calls between components. And then
nice.
the result
The
was that,
results would have been good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the result was astonishing, like 90% cost reduction, 90%. That's a staggering number, and they could just
Mm,
suddenly handle thousands of concurrent streams with just very high
mm.
resilience.
Great. That's incredible. And I think you saw that firsthand,
Mm.
probably. So what were the lessons there?
Oh yeah, very good question. And the lessons, I think, where architecture must be fit for a purpose. Very important.
Hmm.
For a bursty, event-driven workloads, with you have a low data transfer. Serverless is great, but when you have a
Mm,
high throughput, when you have a constant load streaming data, where components, exchange massive amount of load of like information between each other, that coordination cost of
mm,
microservices can just destroy your value. So that's the
mm.
something that
Interesting.
you need to think of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think the big picture here is that don't just follow the hype,
Yeah.
follow the data.
Data.
Try and listen to what the processes and the business is trying to tell you. It's you can sometimes you can achieve that seamless evolution by just simplifying your current architecture. You don't need to go for a complete or a complex overhaul and a big technology overhaul there. I think the best approach need not be the most latest kid on the block technology or the most modern approach. It could be as simple as just simplifying your architecture for your specific situation and then going with it.
True that. True that. All right, let's move to the next slide. I know we are almost reaching the top of the hour. So
But
the
I think
SME
it's a
will be
very
wondering about their
pertinent.
90 day. What is my action plan, right? So can you walk us through?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's this is where the rubber meets the road. So, you know, after all of this, almost an hour of concepts and case studies and frameworks, I think what next? What can I do starting Monday? I think that's what we have laid out here. Right? So the discovery phase,
Yeah.
1 to 30, as we spoke about, that's mapping your business capabilities. You start simple, just take a whiteboard, sticky notes, whatever works for you, and just try and list down what does your business need to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of get a purpose for your business,
Mm-hmm.
and then inventory your current tools, what's supporting each of those capabilities that you need to make the business successful. Identify your top three pain points. Where are you bleeding? Time, money, customer satisfaction, anywhere that your KPIs are going off the charts in a bad way. And do that ADKAR readiness assessment.
Mm.
Map that. How ready is your organization to change? Right?
Very, very well said. And
Yeah. Then the you run your Moscow
that
prioritization.
is a, yeah.
What must this? That's the second phase, selection phase. What must this project accomplish? Build a TCO ROI business case, including the hidden costs, not just the software licenses or the program licenses, also the implementation costs. Do your vendor evaluations and define your pilot scope. Again, we have been talking about it in every episode. Do a pilot first. What's the smallest area of your business, meaningful implementation that can prove the value first? So, sort of a proof of concept, proof of value pilot is a must have in this case.
True that.
So yeah, then you have 61 to 90.
Mm.
Third month is the pilot launch. So deploy that with your champion users. Again, adopt onboard the people that you just thought of when we mentioned that. Measure the KPIs versus your baseline. You should establish a baseline for that
Mm-hmm.
before you measure that, and iterate based on feedback. Be agile on those
Yep.
changes, and build your roll out roadmap for the full organization. So you go beyond the pilot and scale it.
Yeah. So pattern here is start small, prove your value fast, then scale with confidence, right?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
so and one additional tip I want to say here is don't try to boil the ocean, right?
Mhm.
Just know, just pick one capability which is your biggest pain point, right? And nail it down. That success becomes your template and your proof point. We've been constantly saying in previous platforms, but that is what it is. Then, once you have that, then go to the next one. Momentum beats perfection, period.
Right.
All right.
Well said.
So let's move on to
Yep.
the key takeaways as we wrap up this section.
Yeah, we need to have key takeaways
Yeah.
like for every presentation. So let's have five. It's usually three or five.
Yeah.
Let's have five here.
So what is the number one?
Yeah, so don't pave the cow path. That's the phrase that we used earlier. Use capability mapping to fix processes before you invest in tools.
Mhm.
If your process is broken, a new tool is only going to make it
True.
worse. It is going to automate that brokenness.
Correct. The number two is the 7x rule, right?
Right, right. Change management, it's not optional. We saw when change management is handled well by the leadership, it makes you seven times more likely to succeed.
True.
So budget for it, take out some cost as well as time for it, staff for it, and then execute.
True that. And number three is my favorite, the architecture. It's context,
Yeah, that's you saw that firsthand in Amazon, right?
right?
They save 90% going against the conventional wisdom of moving towards microservices. So same thing, do not go after the hype, go after the data. Really listen to what your business is saying, and the right architecture will be subjective to your specific workload.
True that.
It will change. Yeah.
True. Last one, four is phase beats big bang.
Yeah, yeah. So again, do it in phased approach. Do it in smaller bites that you can chew. Allow yourselves for course correction. Build momentum with early quick wins
Yep,
that will also feed your desire engine. And don't bet everything on a single cutover weekend. So
true.
that's where most
Good
companies
point.
have
Good point.
failing. Yeah.
All right. All right. This is the time. I think we are at top of the hour. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
So all the SMB leaders out there, if you're listening to this, following us, please, do like, share this content. I know Shantanu will be putting this on the YouTube channel. Do follow his channel, and do let us know what you would like us to, prepare for next sessions. What problems are you facing?
Absolutely.
Because we would like to cover that in our next sessions, and
Absolutely.
happy to discuss. And if any of you are interested in coming on our podcast, do let us know. Thank you.
No, that's right. That's right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We took this on as a problem that we heard from our previous podcast,
Correct.
right? That they were not able to go through seamless transitions. So we address that. Do come up with new suggestions, and we'll go through those as well. And we'll
Absolutely.
would like to have you as guests on this. So thank you, everyone, and
Signing off.
good day, good night. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.